Hi everyone, good afternoon. Is everyone still awake? Parang hindi. Let's do that again. Is everyone still awake? Okay, that's great. So again, as mentioned, my name is Kathy. I have been a blogger for about 13 years, going on 14, and I have seen the evolution of blogging, of social media. I saw it rise. At first, I didn't understand what it was as well. I'm sure all of you went through that. So today, we're going to talk about the changes, the progressive trends in social media. So, a little background. So, there's about 3.2 billion social media users in the world, and this is just will continue to grow. Now, out of 3.2, 68 are on Facebook, and 94% uses their mobile phones. Who uses their mobile phones here to go to social media? Okay, almost everyone, right? So, for those who are talking about, targeting Gen X and the millennials, you should not leave out the baby boomers because there's a 48.2% of them who uses social media. So that's still a huge population. Now, worldwide, an average of 2 hours and 22 minutes is used. In the Philippines, it's actually 4 hours. So that's 4 hours out of 24 hours. You're supposed to be sleeping for 8 hours. You're supposed to be working for 8 hours. The remaining time is on social media. The question is, are you using social media to improve yourself? Can anyone raise their hand if they're doing that? That's very alarming. I saw 5 hands. Okay, so I hope you guys, will use social media to better yourself, like what you're doing today. I mean, the reason you're here is to better yourselves, right? Not just with work, but yourselves as well. Okay. So, 73% of marketers thankfully believe that social media marketing actually works. It's somewhat effective to very effective. As opposed to a few years ago when people would go, why would I do social media? My work is okay. We've actually encountered a brand, who shall not be named, that said, I don't need social media. My name is already a brand. 3 years later, they folded. So that goes to show that you need to go with the times, you need to improve, and you also need to always check on your competitors. Because just because you're a brand household doesn't mean that you won't get hit by this. And then 54% of social browsers use social media to research products. Now, this was mentioned earlier. I think it was asked, how do you tell traditional people that influencer marketing actually works? So I'll give you a tip. What I normally do is this. I ask people, do you have social media? And they say, just Facebook, just to stalk my first love, to see my high school friends who I haven't seen in 20 years. And then I ask them, is there a brand that you follow? And they go, yeah. For example, a shoe brand. And I ask them, before, if you wanted to know the model, the latest model, what do you do? And they would say, I go to a store. Nowadays, I go on Facebook. And I tell them, that's influencer marketing working at its best. You don't go to the stores anymore. You go on Facebook. You check Instagram. You go to Google. You don't need to leave your house just to find out what the latest model is. It's the easiest way to explain to someone traditional how influencer marketing actually works. Okay, so positive experience. Why does this matter? 71% of people will recommend your brand if they have a positive experience with your social media account. Meaning if they post on Instagram, they comment, you reply. They tweet a question, you reply. They ask something on your Facebook page, and you reply immediately. Now, of course, you can't be online 24/7, so that's one of the things that we will also be discussing on how you can actually be there for your customer 24/7 without being online 24/7. So there you go. Now, for progressive trends, the first one is all about micro-influencers and influencers. Do you have any influencer here? Do you have micro-influencers? Okay, so to be clear, influencers are of course those people who have hundreds of thousands of followers, right? Like David Bison. Micro-influencers actually is anyone who has over 1,000 followers. followers. Anyone who can influence their network, those are micro-influencers. Who here has over 1,000 followers combined for all your social media accounts? We have a lot of micro-influencers. So the good news is with the present trend nowadays, you guys are actually going to be the target of brands. Why is that? It is because people now want something authentic. They don't want the hashtag ad. They don't want the, I can't think of a more positive term, pilit post, where they talk about how they're laid back, relaxing, and then suddenly they're going to talk about contact lens, just to have a clear view of the world. It sounds pilit, it's forced. It doesn't make you feel good. It doesn't make you want to buy the contact lens, right? Because they're talking about nature and seeing the light, and then suddenly, oh, I use this contact lens. It doesn't work. So question, who likes curated feeds? Who here follows people who have curated feeds? Okay, who has a curated feed? I see about 2 out of a lot of people who raise their hands. My question is this, you spend a lot of time curating your feed. Does it consume hours of your time? Has it ever happened that you had this awesome photo, but you wouldn't post it because it does not match your curated feed? But don't you think, sayang naman, that photo is really nice, but you're not going to post it just because it doesn't match your theme. Now, another question. You saw this place, it's curated, it looks really nice. You went there, and it doesn't match what was in the photo. Has that ever happened to anyone? Because I was following this influencer. She had this fantastic photo in front of a pink house. It was really nice. So I was like, oh, I want to go there, I want to see that. And I went there, and then I saw it wasn't a pink house. Apparently she had a filter, it was pink, and everything was just colored that way. But when I went there, it wasn't pink. I was very disappointed. Has that ever happened to anyone here? Not yet? Okay. So apparently I'm following too many influencers. I need to calm down. Now, does anyone here think that influencers are still very effective? Do you think micro-influencers can be more effective? Would you like your influencers to be more authentic with their posts? Have you ever experienced branded influencer fatigue? You follow someone because they're authentic, and then eventually their posts just keep becoming ads, and everything's just ads. Has that ever made you feel disappointed? Made you unfollow someone? That's the current trend right now. When people see that a feed becomes too curated, it's all about products, it's all about sponsored ads, people don't like that. So when you see someone posting something more authentic, for example, Andy Manzano, her YouTube videos, if you watch, her kid is always there, right? And it's not the type that the kid is very well behaved, just sitting beside her. No, she lets her kid go around, walk all over her, and she becomes a part of the video. And it makes you feel, hey, I can do that. Even with my kid, I don't need to have a perfect setup. Everything doesn't have to be like really beautified. Have you ever thought of that? Oh, I can do that because her feed is actually real life. It's not curated, it's not edited to look good. Have you ever felt that? Now, who here wants to become a content creator but feel like, oh, I can't. I don't have the editing app, I don't have the perfect background, I don't have the perfect studio. Has anyone here ever felt that? Okay, yeah. I felt the same way. I thought I had to fix everything, I had to make things look good. But the one thing that people always say, the ones who are successful, do you know what's the one thing that they always say? Just start. Just start. Bring out your phone, create content. If it's crappy, that means there's area for improvement. All the YouTubers, the Instagrammers, the Facebook people that you follow, when you go to the very, very first post, almost always it's crappy, right? No one starts out great, but you always have to start. The trend nowadays, thankfully, is all about being authentic. You don't need a perfect studio, perfect makeup, perfect lighting. You just have to have real content. Is that something that's more doable for everyone here? Is that something that's more doable for everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we see here is likes and shares do not equal ROI. One of the earlier speakers did say that. You can have 1 million likes, you can have 1,000 shares, but does that mean that people are buying what you're selling? Does having 1 million followers really mean that you can sell something? Exactly. No, right? It's not a guarantee. I mean, there could be, but it's not a guarantee that just because you can buy, you can have a lot of followers, people will buy it. Because nowadays there are a lot of fake followers, fake bots. Those things can actually be bought from a certain service. I wouldn't recommend doing that. Now, after this, the next one is chatbots. Who is here for a business or a brand? Okay, so this is not for the personal branding. This is for the business. One of the things that you need to have for your businesses is chatbots. Why? You need someone to acknowledge a person's message. Sadly, some of them think that messaging at 2 a.m. is acceptable and they expect a response. Of course, it would be unfair to have someone at 2 a.m. just, responding to an inquiry, to a question. And most of the time, the questions that they ask, you already have the information about. You put for sale 6 million, sure buyers only, and they go, ma'am, magkano po? Diba? Diba? It's true. Magkano po? It's there. 6 million. But no, they will ask and they will expect you to respond. Now, chatbots will save you guys from these kind of people, or these kind of humans that, they just have so much time and they don't have time to read because they're busy with other things. So make sure that if you're handling a business or a brand, chatbots are the answers. And this is not just, what I see in the Philippines is, it's a standard. When you go to a page, there's a pop-up, you ask a question, and it ends there. No, you need to learn how to use chatbots to get people the answers that they are looking for, so it also saves you time. So you need to learn how to make it more personalized, because there are ways to do it, so that at least you only have to answer the ones that can't be answered anymore by the bot. Because again, a lot of people will just ask you the same frequently asked questions that you have already answered. And nobody here wants to answer the question, how much? The entire day. Next one, storytelling versus sponsored posts. This has been discussed earlier, so I'm just going to go through this very, very quickly. So this one, again, relatable posts work better. The Kardashians, a lot of people don't like them, but a lot of people love them as well. Why? Because they show an image where their real life is the one that is being shown. Even though a lot of us know that this is all staged, but they make it appear that it's all real life. It's not curated. It's what's happening. And people love seeing that. And if they see in the bathroom of Kim that she's using a certain cleanser, you also want to use that. Not realizing that was probably placed there for that purpose. It's the same with Chris Aquino. She comes off as being very real, very authentic. This is what I use. But we all know that most likely it was already paid for. But since she's endorsing it and people relate to her, people will buy the product that she's selling. And it's the same why influencers at the beginning were very believable, because they would post about the products that they use. Yun nga lang, when they became more famous, they have more sponsored posts, so you don't know anymore what's real and what's not. And this is why micro-influencers will be the biggest trend in the near future. Now, let's focus on the most important part, video. So with video, live versus recorded. Who here likes watching edited videos? Who here prefers live video? There's a reason why people are also veering towards live video. Live video means authentic content. They can't edit anything, they have to be witty, they have to be real, and you can't edit out micro expressions. Also, live video video gets 6 times more engagement than regular video. And right now there are 1.5 billion users on YouTube, and they have 1 billion watch hours every hour. That's a lot of hours spent. And you don't need to think that, oh, I have to curate things. You can just sit down, turn on the camera, and just talk about the things that you are passionate about. People spend 88% more time on the site with video. So that's something that you have to remember. Now for those who are here for business or just want to create a personal brand, again, just be authentic, be real, and people will go to you. You don't want 1 million people watching. You want 1,000 true fans, as we stated earlier, who really will listen and will follow what you have to say. So that's the good thing about live video. And what's good about this is that Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter, they actually will help you out. They will push live video because they want to take over the social networks. They want to take over the TV networks. They want to be the one producing these content. So if you're scared to start, don't be. Just go ahead, start, make mistakes, learn from it, and take over the world. This is something that a lot of people worldwide already know. But here in the Philippines, we still think it's about edited videos, curated videos, making sure of the emojis, the laughs. But in reality, people just want to see what's real and they want to know what's true. They don't want a certain person doing a food review and all you see are OOTD posts. And there's no mention about the food. You want to see, if it's a food review, people talk about the food. And they want to be authentic. If you don't like it, say why. If you love it, say why you love it. But don't be fake. Because at the end of the day, the only thing that will make you stand out and make you survive the trends is if you're remarkable, you're authentic, you're real, you're unique, and the only way that you can stay unique is you stay true to yourself and to your brand. You can trend chat, but you have to stay true to your values. You have to know what you are here for. You can't just be going with the tide and then losing your personality just to get the likes, the shares, and the engagement. So those are the progressive trends that we have for now. I hope you have questions later, and I'll be more than happy to answer.
It's going to be damaging to your brand. So, how do you do a finding? So we'll start with the controversial. It seems like they're really always gearing on the, damn if you do, damn if you don't type of publicity.
So what we would say is that not all publicity is just publicity. I feel like it's a really bad attitude to pass around. There are things that if we can, we would prefer it to just be kept quiet. But I don't know if there's like a golden standard at which you say this is too much and this is not. And I feel like the philosophy of our brand overall is that we try to push the boundaries as far as we can. Obviously, everything is still checked, right? Like everyone's training, everyone does this in good fun. We try not to cross any boundaries. Like, okay, yes, we made a joke about sex, but we're not promoting adultery, not promoting harassment, not consensual behavior, anything of the sort, right? We really just made a sex joke. And I'm not trying to be sorry, not sorry right now. I'm just saying, we try to do it in good fun. We understand that this humor does not apply to everyone, and we're okay with that. But if it blows up like that, we get a lot of negative reactions, even with the good ones, then we'll come back, think about it, and have a serious chat. We had a post-mortem, lasted until 4 a.m. last night. And you basically sit down and say like, hey, is this worth damaging other potential relationships with our users, right? Does this actually make people feel unsafe? We are getting a lot of good buzz out of this. Every news outlet is reporting it, but maybe it won't really build future trust, right? Are we sacrificing something long term? And so I think if you think about it, I guess in that calculus, then maybe you are sacrificing something. Obviously, no one can predict the future, so there's no way to compute the future value of whatever positive we can get from just not apologizing. So it's really ultimately up to you, and I guess how far you're willing to double down on something that you've done.
I think for that, so again, to emphasize, we're not here to, there's no right or wrong answer. sad to say, a lot of things are in gray area. But the key thing here is it's about agility. You need to do something fast and react faster and learn from it and then move on. That's why traditional companies, traditional retail are having difficulty because it takes a month to launch a promo compared to everyone else. So it's also, yeah. Next, what do you want to add?
I just wanted to. He very said that no one can predict the future, and that's true. But let me try and wear my. So I'm gonna borrow Nostradamus. I'm gonna try to play the Nostradamus right now, and I think just because of the social media landscape, people right now are more tolerable. So I kind of predict that you guys will definitely it's not gonna hurt you, and at the same time, just because of what's happening right now in social media, you guys know who's this guy? Logan Paul. He's a famous YouTuber. He laughed. He was at the suicide forest in Japan. He laughed, and then people hated on him because he was insensitive to suicide. He apologized. He's now an advocate for suicide, and then he's like, all sins were forgiven. So I think now we're at the age where people are more tolerable and will forgive you if you actually apologize. So I think that's that. Like, as you push the boundaries, yes, you will make mistakes sometimes, but as long as you actually are genuine, you apologize, people will forgive you.
Kathy, if you want to add anything?
Yeah, and also I don't believe in using bad publicity because it's still publicity. Because at the end of the day, again, it's all about your morals, your values, and who you are. And if people see that you're using scandals or super thought-provoking things just to create a fuss, they will get sick and tired of you, and they will stop listening to you or viewing you. So you make mistakes, that becomes a bad publicity, but if it's an honest mistake and you own up to it the way they did, then people will forgive. But if you just spout out things just to be controversial or to be viral, eventually people will see through that and then they will get sick and tired of you. The same way that everyone else who's trying to make a name for themselves via scandal or being controversial, you can't even remember them anymore. They're not there, and you don't want that for your brand. You want to maintain your authenticity, your values, your morals, and you want to be something good for the world.
Okay. Thank you for that. So Walter mentioned earlier that they need to build trust, right? It's trust not the conduct, but trust in the brand. So Walter, can you, for all of you, since we lack time, can you think of one key thing that you think it's important to build trust in a brand? Let's start with one key thing. So, because I think everyone decides, so what would be that one unique selling proposition, one key success factor?
So I think it would be just being grounded in knowledge. I think there are probably some brands where the service sucks. I feel like you guys know the public guys what those brands are. But then when you talk to them on social media, it's like they pretend that it's not. And then they'll tell you we don't know why it's like that. It's like it sucks for everyone. Every one of your friends has the same service and it sucks. So I think just being able to own up to the fact that your service isn't perfect, your product isn't perfect, and you address that and you do something to try and improve the customer, I think really goes a long way to help build trust. So I think part of it is what Kathy said about going too far. Right? If you apologize, people will take that in with a bad. Give you some.
Okay, so the takeaway is to be honest, not to hide the issues, and just take it head on, be with reality. Happy?
For me, I would still say it's all about being authentic. Because at the end of the day, again, the only unique story that you can tell is your own story. And if it's uniquely yours, you can spin it any way and still be remarkable, be remembered by everyone, which is really what we want to be. We want to be remembered. And I don't think that anyone here wants to be remembered for being something that they're not, for being fake, or for being one of the herd. You want to stand out, and the only way that you can stand out from the crowd is by being who you really are. And that's what you sell to people. And if they see that, they will love you for you. So if you make mistakes, they will forgive you, they will be there to support you to the end. And that's what we want the most. So always remember, just be you, be unique, be authentic, and everything else will follow. The right people will be there for you.
Yeah, I think so. It really sounds like the brand is like, you want to build trust. It's like you're making friends. So when you're making friends, you need to show who you really are and not be a hypocrite. And then that's a good secret sauce.
So
Thanks.
for me, it's since trust can't be built overnight, like it's impossible to even build it like just a few weeks. Like that's not how humans are wired, right? So the fastest way, if you can even call it fast, to build trust and credibility is to consistently deliver. Actually, consistently over deliver, like on a daily basis. If you have one customer, make sure that customer is happy like every single time because that will spread, right? You get one testimonial, boom, you get another customer. You get like a follower who likes what you do, boom, you refers you to other people. And then eventually they all add up. But it's not gonna add up, it's never gonna get to the point where you want it to be if you're not consistent with it. So consistency is what builds trust. If you show up every single day, whatever it is your brand, whatever part, you're always there for your customers, your audience, it will build over time.
Thank you for that. So one last question is the question of quantity versus quality. For example, Facebook is very important. 70 million people accessing the Facebook on a daily basis. Now you need to get people engaged. It's not about the likes anymore. It's about people browse you a lot, right? But the moment they stay for 3-5 seconds, Facebook's able to detect that this is quality content. Now the question is, do you need to have a lot of quality content? Or are you better off to go for those viral posts? Like, one user generated content, 1 million views, 50,000 shares. So what's that? Like, you put all your effort in that one big virality and, maybe spend for it or, go through a whole Netflix.
That's a great question, and I'm not sure if we might have differing opinions, and that's okay because there's no right or wrong. Like, but for me, I believe in consistent, like volume. Trying to trade for Hail Mary or aka viral video, that's what it is not sustainable and it's not something that guarantees your success. And let's say if you even go viral and it succeeds, your plan, like your master plan that I'm gonna create a viral video, let's say it even works, right? How about 2 months from now? Do you think those people still remember you? Can't say for sure. I know some people went viral because they said some controversial things. They were hot for a minute, but like after a week, no one's even, talking about it anymore. So for me, it's consistently showing up on social media, particularly Facebook, making sure you have posts every day, at least once a day on Facebook. If you can do 2, at least 2, but don't treat it like Twitter where you can post 20. Don't do that. You're gonna saturate the platform. 1 to 2 posts every day. Consistently know what your audience wants. Make sure that you're putting something out there, and you'll be surprised. One of those posts might go viral. Even if you didn't intend it to, because you were always there. You were always serving your audience, which means you'll always be shown in the newsfeed. You'll be able to fight off that algorithm, and you'll always be there. So I think consistency over viral.
Yeah, thank you for that. So by the way, Hail Mary. It's not a millennial term, it's a football term. That's what I know, that you're hoping for miracles to happen and stuff. And then again, it's more of agree. One view is, 1-2 posts, need to know the audience, give them what they want. You need to know who you're addressing to. Kathy?
Okay, for me, I'll talk as a blogger who's been doing this for about 13 years. I would still say go for quality content. I don't think I would last this long. I'm not a famous blogger, I'm not an influencer, but I do have brands that believe in me and work with me because I've been able to build a small following. And these are people who really believe when I say I recommend this or I don't recommend that or I have an issue with this. And I'm going to be responsible in what I post online because I realize that there are people who really follow and believe what I have to say. Because when I post something, it means I believe in it. When I say that I recommend this, it means that I use this. It's not just for show or because I was paid. I'm very transparent. And again, when people see that, then they will believe you and you build your integrity. So quality posts will still matter over quantity. Because if you have about, say, 20 posts, but 14 of them are not real, then people will stop visiting your site or reading. In this day and age where it's all about, videos, there's still room for other things, and that's where I'm at, and that's where I'm happy. I love writing, and that's my passion, and I'm happy and really grateful that after almost 14 years, I still have a lot of brands that reach out and would like to work with me. And I think that's something that people should aspire for, not to have everyone loving you and reaching out to you because you post stuff that they're not real. But being able to sleep at night knowing that when people buy something that I recommended, it's worth their money, worth their hard-earned money.
So for Walter, a different question since so we saw he started with a video, very cute, sleeveless, shirtless, but he rides the bike because he's not qualified to ride a motorcycle. So we know attention spans of people are now like goldfish, which is 6 seconds, so first 3 seconds, they need to get attention, interest, desire, action, the idle way, marketing. So videos is important. So like Ankas, right? So one of the things is making this 4K videos and stuff. So can you just share a bit more on the video side? Because it's also quite important. Because you can do a post, but everybody's doing posts anyway. But videos, like the GIFs and the videos, and that the long maybe 3 minutes, right? So yeah.
So I feel like YouTube did a study before where I think it's not so much I think that everyone just has the attention span of a goldfish, but I guess most things just fade into background noise. But that if you have really good quality content, people are more than willing to watch it all the way to the end of like a 6-minute video. And I think the reason, at least for us, why we pursue video is that we find that a simple post can't communicate a lot of things without feeling too messy and cluttered. And usually people are more than willing to go for a bit of a ride if the thing you're showing them is immersive and engaging. Right? So I mean in our case we try to use humor, right? Like 1 minute goes by pretty quickly, 3 minutes goes by pretty quickly, and we can get millions of views. It's really fun. I think the important thing to note is that we've made other videos that definitely did not go viral. So it's not like everything we do, it's like we have a magic formula. So we really do have to kind of try and fail and see what doesn't work and what works. So I think video has its place. I think static post has its place. I think as long as you have good content, the video doesn't matter. It's just that I think video tends to be richer and you can use a lot more if you use it really well if you can engage with it.
Okay, thank you for that. Again, there's not a lot of time, so this is like a sampler of their expertise. So look them up, Google them up. Next, Kathy Walteron of Angkas. And let's give a round of applause for them for giving us the